Welcome back to Extreme Voltage. My name is D. Melconian, and we are debriefing Week 3 of Chargers football in 2020. The Chargers had a hard-fought game, and they lost 21-16 to the Carolina Panthers. This was a tough loss because the numbers were actually on the winning side for the Chargers. This team really shot themselves in the foot this game all game long, especially the first half. The problem with this game was obviously turnover issues. The stat sheet's going to give you 4 turnovers. Don't look at the last one. That was a little desperation hook and ladder play they're trying to get going and didn't work out, unfortunately, at the end. I think most of you saw. We'll talk about that in a second. But mainly it was the turnover issues. And this is not just on Justin Herbert, who was accounted for 2 turnovers. It was not on him per se. He had a fumble early in the game that resulted in a short field where the Panthers capitalized and made a field goal. And the second one was an interception later in the game. Yes, those are issues. However, it was also an offensive line problem, which we're going to be discussing today as well. And those are the injury bugs that have come across us again in 2020. That's been hurting us, and it's going to continue to hurt us as we move on to Week 4 in a couple days to play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we'll dissect that and more as we relive the moments for this last game. Look, stat sheet-wise, I'm going to break it down with that first. I'm going to show you the stat sheet on this. Net passing yards, 221 for Carolina, 319 for the Chargers. Check off that one. Total yards, 302 for the Panthers, 436 for the Chargers, which also includes 117 rushing yards on 23 attempts. So total yards was definitely a big factor for us. Fumbles lost. This is the problem. We had 4 fumbles in the game. 3 were losses. And turnover rate overall was 4. Again, let's not count that last one. Penalties was a big one for us this time around. Panthers had 3 for 30. We had 8 for 60. And those really will give you problems on that. And that's going to be issues. Third down conversion, I love this stat rate. Okay, both offensively and defensively. The Panthers, for third down, 3 of 12. 3 of 12. That's great. That's what you need. So 1/4 of those third downs, they're only conversion rate. 3/4 of it is going to be going back to the sideline, which is absolutely great. 10 out of 15 on third downs on offense. That's beautiful. That's what you want to see. That's being smooth and efficient. I like that a lot. So that looked really good. Nobody went for it on fourth down this game. And time of possession pretty much flat even. 28-49 for Carolina, 31-11 for the Chargers. So the numbers are not going to lie. We did have the advantage on the numbers, but the biggest factor, I think, a lot of times, and biggest number, and this isn't something that's hyperbole, it's going to be the turnover battle, right? When you show 4 turnovers here in the game and those guys had 0, that's a factor in a close contest like this, 21-16 game. That's the problem. Those 1 or 2 additional turnovers, that's going to come back and hurt you, and that's what happened on this case. Herbert only playing like the best rookie quarterback in this class right now, okay? 35 of 49, 330 yards, 1 touchdown. That was later in the game for Keenan Allen. 1 interception, 2 sacks, 3 rushing attempts for 15 yards, and again, the 2 fumbles we talked about. 1 was a loss on a fumble. He played great. 88.0 quarterback rating. He is looking smooth, confident, strong in that pocket. I did not like him getting hit so much. I believe he had 9 hits overall against him in quarterback hits back in the pocket. And one of those hits really did hurt him. That's the one when he got dinged up late in the game and they had to bring him out. And they called the timeout. Instead of getting Easton Stick out there to convert a 3rd and 4, they trusted Justin Herbert. Look, I like and dislike that call. And here's my breakdown. I like the call because they said, hey, 3rd and 4 late in the game, we want our best quarterback to do his thing. We have this much confidence in you that we need you to take care of it. 3rd and 4, I'm going to call a timeout. I'm going to bring you back in, and I'm going to make sure you're the one that's leading this charge. I love that. That shows, it empowers that quarterback to say, hey, you're our guy. We're going to go with you. I like that a lot. What I didn't like, it was a 3rd and 4. You have Easton Stick that's very mobile, and he's a good quarterback, right? Get him out there, let him convert that 3rd and 4 and move on and save that timeout because this is a close game. And you're probably going to need that timeout later in the quarter, especially latter moments of the game, right? And we needed it. We needed that timeout, and unfortunately we lost it. So it's great to second guess, right? Here it is. But that's the problem on those kind of decisions. You have Easton Stick that, like I said, is a mobile quarterback, so it can give you an option to run pass on that 3rd and 4. It's a doable 3rd and 4. It's not a 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8 where it's a passing down only pretty much. You got a 3rd and 4. I have enough confidence in Easton Stick that I've seen last year, and I know what he can do in practice for me, okay? Let him go out there and finish off. Hold on to that timeout. So that was my little 2 cents on it. But, hey, I'm not the coach, luckily. But, again, Justin Herbert played a phenomenal game. It's only a second start, and listen, he is the guy. Okay, by him going back and being on the bench, and Tyrod coming in, that's probably going to happen with this coach. But it's the wrong decision to make. I don't think it's going to behoove him or be anything advantageous for him to sit back on the bench and take mental reps while Tyrod's playing out there. He's not that kind of quarterback that needs more time on the bench learning the game from that sideline. It's not going to help him progress into who he's going to be eventually, which is a star in this league. Okay, and don't take my word for it. Go ahead and listen to any good analysts out there in regards to the quarterback position, and you're going to see what they're talking about. Okay, this kid has every item in the book to make him a star in this game, including the mental aspect of it as well. All right, so the leadership aspect, he has all the physical, tangible qualities. That's there, but it's also the other intangibles that he has that make it great. And he's a coachable kid as well. So don't go back on the bench. Keep riding him. The only problem I would have is this offensive line. And if we're going to be playing against that kind of a protection plan, then maybe he should go back to the sideline because he's going to get hurt. And I don't want to be too rough on this offensive line, but it's not looking good right now, especially on the right side. So what happened was, of course, you saw the game, and if, for those of you who haven't had a chance to watch the game yet, Brian Bulaga, our right side tackle, got hurt. He's already been suffering through some knee injuries and so forth. He had a back. His back injury came back up again, and he had to go ahead and sit back out in the second half. So we lost Brian Bulaga again. Trey Turner, which I had told you in my previous podcast, I loved the way he was moving. He's a big bear, dancing bear, and he had a great game week 2 against Kansas City. He got hurt. And he had a groin injury on that one. So he's been out, and I think he's also out for this upcoming game as well, which really hurts us. That's a problem. Tyree St. Louis came in. I like the big kid, but he got out very quickly with a concussion issue, and he's out this week as well. In place comes in the newly signed Ryan Groy, who's a 7-year veteran in the NFL, but just does not have a lot of playing time. It's more practice squad situations. So he came in. Give up a lot of pressures, and I'm going to watch him a little more closely on the All-22 tape just to get a better idea of the collapse in the second half with that right side, and that was an issue. Trey Pipkins came in, of course, our third-round pick from last year, and he took Balaga's side at the right tackle, and just to be fair, he is working as a left tackle, so by him being placed as a swing tackle situation going to the right side, look, it is a night and day difference for some of these guys. Some guys are able to play a swing tackle shift where they're able to go from left to right with moderate or minimal issues between it because it really is a different game on each side. He's a left tackle going to right. So, yeah, he's going to have problems, and it showed as he was pressured. He gave up 6 passing pressures on just about a little over 50% of the snaps. So that's a lot of pressures to give up, and that was the weakness on that side. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. If he's just got to improve his game on that right side. Or if he just can't do it, then he's got to have somebody else that goes in the right side and plays it, and he just stays at left because you just cannot give that blind side attack on Justin. And Justin felt it. Again, 9 hits is what I'm seeing through my stat line here from ProFootballReference.com. 9 hits is what he took, and that last one that he had that rib issue, which he had to come out of the game from. So that was a problem. He got sacked twice in this game as well. Again, he really did a good job avoiding the pressure, and a lot of times he just stood in the front of that pressure and let it come in and hit him as he's throwing the ball. So kudos to him. Just a great piece of work on that end. So good work on that side. Defensively speaking, I thought we had a really great game plan. Again, limiting that third down from only 3 out of 12 third down conversions, which is excellent. Defense really held it tight. No picks, no interceptions. However, had some good hits on the quarterback. We had some good TFLs, tackles for losses. Kazir White continues to lead the battle on the defensive side and lead the charge with 11 combined tacks as the leader of the game for an amount of tackles. Rayshawn Jenkins, battling that groin injury, just came and had a heck of a game. 9 combined tackles, 2 tackles for losses. Going back to Kazir, he also had a tackle for loss. Joey Bosa had a sack along with a quarterback hit and 2 tackles for losses. So that was nice to see as well. Again, some good combinations. Michael Davis, Nasir Adderley with some good tackling to counter him up as well. The problem, though, for defensive line is Joey Bosa right now with these the jumping off sides. We saw it the week before, Melvin Ingram jumping off sides on these calls, and now we're seeing it with Joey Bosa. And I'm sure you've been reading and seeing why these are happening. This is going on because we're playing in fields that do not have any fans. And every single bark, yell, cadence that you're hearing from these quarterbacks are going to jump these guys up. And it happens more so than other times, especially home field advantage. You have none. The defense, the fans aren't yelling when the defense is out there, and you're hearing every single thing the quarterback is saying. So, unfortunately, that's also negative sometimes, just like we're seeing it now, because these cats are jumping off sides a lot. And this week it was Joey Bosa's turn, and it really hurt us. Those 5-yard penalties, gave him first downs and kept the drives going with easier third downs to make. So that was a problem on that end, and it's got to get fixed. It's back-to-back weeks now, and that defense has to just keep those ears closed and just keep watching that ball, because it's going to be a problem for us if that continues, and it did hurt us this week. They faced the Carolina Panthers without Christian McCaffrey, right, the MVP of that team, if not the league, this year if he was healthy. Mike Davis came in. Again, we talked about it last week. Big running back. He did a good job running. Didn't do a phenomenal job. I think we did okay with him. But once he got across that offensive line, attack second level, that becomes a problem, right? That could be an issue. He only ran 13 times, 46 yards. 25 was his longest, so he broke away with that one big run, and he gained 45 yards out of those. So, he had also 8 receptions for 45 yards, and that was the big one. So he's gaining 46 on the ground and 45 through the air, and that's a lot of targets coming at him with 8 targets. So he was a factor in this game, and he scored that one rushing touchdown. And that rushing touchdown came after the fact that we had held Carolina to a field goal attempt, and because Jerry Tillery literally lined up on the wrong area by the center, or across from the center, which is illegal to do, that penalty got called, and they were given a fresh new set of downs, and that Mike Davis touchdown run became the factor on that 13 yards for a touchdown. That was the issue. So those are the concerns we're going to have. We can't give teams second chances on really penalties where we're lining up in the wrong slots. That just can't happen. That's a coaching issue. That cannot occur in games. We can't give up small ones like that. And again, just like the offsides penalties, we can't give up on these issues as well, and that was a concern. I believe Carolina Panthers were in the red zone 6 separate times for the Chargers, and they only came away with 1 touchdown. And that's huge. That really is big. That is your red zone defense coming to work and attacking it. And unfortunately, another injury happened on our defensive side with Chris Harris going down, right, with the ankle-foot issue. So that's going to be a problem. He's going to be gone. He's on the IR, short-term IR, 3 to 5 weeks. So let's see how that works out. In the meantime, Desmond King and Nasir Adderley are reportedly going to be working that slot area. Conversely, going back and forth with the safety positions as well. So they'll be in a dual role capacity. Luckily, they have that in their repertoire to be able to work as a slot corner and a up high safety. So we'll see both of those cats playing and see how that's working out. I'll see if there's any other safeties that are going to be coming up. I believe Jaleel Dye is going to be back on our active roster now, and he played last week, I believe, as well. He'll get a lot of the strong safety positional places as well. Rayshawn can always go back to free safety, so that can work on that end as well. So they'll make that up until they get these DBs back in circulation. Offensively speaking, again, a great effort this week with the rushing component of this Chargers team. Austin Eckler, Josh Kelly, again, great stuff. 12 carries on Austin Eckler, 59 yards with 1 touchdown on that run. Josh Kelly, 8 for 43. 16-yard was his longest, and that was great. But unfortunately, he did fumble in this game. That really put us in a bad spot. That fumble put him at their own 40-yard line going back our way, so that we had a chance of scoring that drive, and we lost out on that one, unfortunately. So we got to control those fumbling issues, and that's something I'm sure Anthony Lynn's going to talk about as the ex-running back that he is. Check this out. Austin Eckler had 11 targets in the game, caught all 11 for 84 yards, longest of 28. He is phenomenal, man. He is just a great all-around running back. So he played extremely well. Josh Kelly, 2 targets with 2 receptions for 9 yards. How about Keenan Allen that day? Targeted 19 times, right, with 13 receptions, 132 yards, and a touchdown. Should have had that 2-point conversion at the end of the game, or close to the end of the game, which would have put us up to 21-18 and just a field goal away. And unfortunately, that did not happen. That was a key drop. And what am I going to say? The guy caught 13 passes for 132 and a touchdown, and I'm slamming him here for that 2-point conversion. But these are the things that needs to get done. A few extra things have to get done for us to go over the top and beat and win games like this, and beat teams that we need to beat, and also come close to beating games or being in games with teams that are sometimes better than us. But that's what's going to give us an advantage and an edge to win games ugly like that, and we need to have those happen. So unfortunately, that didn't occur. KJ Hill, I got to tell you, very disappointed. 4 targets, only 1 reception, 15 yards. Had a couple of drops, and those are key drops. And he had to come in because Mike Williams was out after that reception he made, where they gave him a false pass interference on the offensive side penalty, which I thought was really bogus. After that one, he was out of the game, and he's going to be out this week, I believe, as well. KJ Hill, you got to step up. You got to make those catches. I know you're a rookie. I know it's stressful when you're out there. That ball's coming. And one of them was the first one I saw was simply he just literally took his eyes off the football and turned back to where he's going to run to make that advantage on a run, and you just can't do that. Secure the pass first. And go from there. I thought that was some of the rookie mistakes that happened, so we'll keep working on that. Hunter Henry, phenomenal job. 7 targets, 5 catches, 50 yards. Just keeps working. Jalen Guyton did a good job. 2 catches on 3 targets with 23 yards. And, of course, Mike Williams was the 1 for 17 and the injury. So these are the things we're talking about. It really was a winnable game. The stat sheet doesn't lie. It was favoring us. And the turnovers just eroded our play. Offensive line injuries really are concerning, and we don't want another quarterback getting hurt, and they got to protect him. I don't care if you put a second or third tight end. You put Virgil Green on that side. You start rolling some other guys on that side and getting the running backs to check on that and pass pro on that right side. You got to protect this kid, because you can't have people teeing off and just attacking him and eventually he's going to get hurt. Okay, we can't have that happen. You got to give him the best protection available out there. So that's going to be key for this game. Speaking of the game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers on our docket, right? They're playing well. They are playing well, but they are beatable. All right, this is not the dream team that people were predicting in the offseason. Of course, Brady's there with his 86.7% quarterback rating on Pro Football Focus. PFF has him as a 6th best quarterback right now to 36. Their running back field is interesting, right? They have Ronald Jones right now, and they have, of course, the newly acquired Leonard Fournette. And I think you might see a little more Fournette in this one as well to bang in there. They have a decent offensive line that's doing really well right now. They have some injuries right now at Tampa Bay offensively. Chris Godwin being one of the biggest issues, that hamstring injury right now, and he's been affected by it. Mike Evans, not an injury, but man, no connection really right now. Even though he had 2 touchdowns last game, it's kind of ironic to say about the connection, but literally 2 yards in the game. The guy is not being used and utilized the way he was last year, and that's all over the field when he's being thrown and given the chance to manhandle somebody and catch a pass and roll for 20 or 30 yards or 40 yards. He's not getting those plays in. Luckily, that will continue for us because he's a beast in the field, in the open field. So that'll be a problem. But Mike Evans is there right now, 60.4 on the PFF rating scale. Scotty Miller playing really well on the right side as DX, and he's at a 66.8. I like Scotty Miller. He's also banged up this week, so I'm not sure if he's a full go, and that could be an issue. Gronkowski made himself a viable target last week. I believe he had 7 catches in there last week. So he's playing really well and doing his thing. This is a really good offensive team for Tampa Bay, and it's going to be a problem for our defense, obviously, to control this, but it's definitely doable. Even with all the injuries we have in the back end, it's something that they can still cover and handle, and they should be able to do it. The biggest component is the defensive line. I believe that D-line can come in and attack Brady. Unlike what we faced him a couple of years ago in the Patriots, I think he's to be had in this game because we have a much stronger middle rush with Linval Joseph and Wasu attacking. We have Bosa, obviously. I think we're having a lot more interior rush coming with Jerry Tillery. And I think that can be exposed. I think they can attack Brady. He's a statue back there, and if he's not going to get rid of that ball after his first or second read, he's going to get hit. He's not going to have an option to run away from it. Opposed to what we saw with Mahomes in Week 2 and Bridgewater in Week 3, where he was getting the ball out of there really quickly, not really getting hit. I think we have a chance to really put some lumber onto him and start making him not want to play back there as much. So hopefully the defense comes through again and has a really good showing. Otherwise, if he's going to pick apart that secondary, we're banged up right now, and those safeties could have problems, right? Especially with Gronkowski playing better than he was the first couple weeks and kind of getting back into his form a little bit as a pass receiver. That could be an issue as well. So we got to just be careful with that. This is a game where the Chargers can sneak out of there with a win. And I'm looking at 28-24, 27-24 type of win. I think our defense can slow these guys down, which we've seen they can be slowed down, right, in the last few games. Their defense is good. Buccaneers' defense is good, but I think the fact that Justin Herbert gives us that lightning rod of an offensive attack, I love the way he's playing, and we got a good running game. I'll tell you, you bring those together, that's going to be an impactful situation. Mike Williams is down, so these rookie receivers, young receivers, got to step up. Jalen Guyton, KJ Hill, you guys got to step it up, and you got to play it. You got to give them a lot more support. It can't be 20 targets to Keenan Allen again, right? Austin Eckler's got to do his thing again, make his catches, make his runs. Josh Kelly, continue what you're doing, protect that ball, make some big runs. We have a really good opportunity to win this game. And if it's a 31-20 the other way, I can see that potentially happening. If it goes that way with turnovers again, with some kind of lack of execution on offense, yeah, it can go that way pretty quickly. It's a veteran team that can score on you, right? Brady knows how to win. Not breaking news here. So they got to put it together. Don't play from a disadvantages situation when you're down by a touchdown or two. You got to get in the game early. You got to score. You got to keep the scoring going and let them try to catch up. And that way they can make their mistakes and you can get some interceptions or good sacks and continue building on the running game. Because once we start running that game and Herbert's taking over with his offensive magic, then we've got good conversions going on, and we're draining clock, and we're going to get a nice win. So I'm going to predict a 28-24 win. We'll talk about it next week. Want to thank a few people before we leave today. Again, our producer, our guy behind the glass, Tyrell Mad Dog Wiggins, taking care of us today for production. Appreciate you, Tyrell. And, of course, want to thank Kevin McLeod for Strength of the Titans and the Ice Giants for his awesome music. You can find him at filmmusic.io. Hope you guys are doing great. Keep on listening to us on Extreme Voltage Podcast. Please download, get our numbers up, tell your friends and listeners, and can keep it going. You can find us on Instagram, Extreme Voltage Podcast. You can get me on Twitter on DMelconian3. Otherwise, you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the game. Hope these guys play well. Catch you next week on Extreme Voltage.